The incident, the Proxima Centauri colony, gleamed like a jewel against the red dwarf star's dim light. Geodesic domes housed lush gardens, while towering skyscrapers reached toward the alien sky. It was humanity's pride, their first extrasolar settlement, a testament to their ingenuity and determination. Commander Elena Rodriguez stood at the viewport of Proxima Station, gazing down at the planet below. After 5 years overseeing the colony's growth, she still marveled at what they had accomplished. Millions of humans now called this world home, thriving despite the harsh conditions. "Commander," her AI assistant's voice interrupted her reverie. "We're detecting unusual energy signatures at the system's edge." Elena frowned, turning away from the viewport. "Show me." A holographic display materialized before her, depicting Proxima Centauri's outer reaches. Several red dots blinked ominously, moving steadily inward. "Unknown vessels," the AI reported. "No match in our database." Elena's heart raced. First contact. They had always known this day might come, but nothing could truly prepare them for it. "Open a channel," she ordered. "All frequencies." The AI complied, and Elena took a deep breath. "This is Commander Elena Rodriguez of Proxima Colony. We come in peace and welcome peaceful exchange. Please identify yourselves." Silence stretched for agonizing minutes. Elena watched the red dots creep closer, her palms sweating. Then, without warning, the dots accelerated. "Energy spike," the AI shouted. "They're charging weapons." Elena's training kicked in. "Sound the alarm. All civilians to shelters immediately. Deploy our defense fleet." Klaxons blared throughout the station and on the planet below. Elena watched in horror as streaks of light erupted from the alien ships, lancing toward the colony. The first impacts shook the station, and fires blossomed across the planet's surface. "Get me Earth," Elena shouted, gripping her console. "We need reinforcements now." The next hours passed in a blur of fire and death. Proxima's meager defenses crumbled before the alien onslaught. Elena coordinated evacuation efforts, trying desperately to save as many lives as possible. But for every shuttle that escaped, another was shot down. When the dust settled, half the colony lay in ruins. Tens of thousands were dead or missing. The alien fleet hung in orbit, silent and menacing. A week later, Elena stood before the Galactic Council, her uniform still stained with ash and blood. She had expected a grand chamber, filled with diverse alien races. Instead, she found herself in a sterile white room, facing the semicircle of holographic projections. "We have reviewed your petition, Commander Rodriguez." The central figure spoke. Its form shifted constantly, as if unable to settle on a single shape. "While we sympathize with your losses, we cannot intervene." Elena's fists clenched. "Cannot, or will not. Millions of my people are dead or displaced. The attackers still orbit our colony. We need help." Another counselor, this one appearing as a shimmering cloud of gas, spoke up. "The Thoraxians are a recognized member of this council. Their dispute with your kind predates your discovery of faster-than-light travel. We cannot take sides in what is essentially an internal matter." "Internal?" Elena's voice rose. "We've never even heard of these Thoraxians before they attacked us. How can this possibly be internal?" The first counselor's form rippled with what might have been irritation. "The Thoraxians claim your colony world as part of their ancient empire. Your presence there is, from their perspective, an invasion." Elena struggled to keep her composure. "And this justifies the slaughter of civilians, of children. Regrettable." A third counselor chimed in, this one appearing as a towering insectoid. "But not unprecedented. When you chose to expand beyond your home system, you entered a complex web of interstellar politics. There are consequences to such actions." "So you'll do nothing," Elena said flatly. "You'll sit here in your pristine chamber while my people burn." The first counselor's form solidified briefly into something almost humanoid. "We suggest you open diplomatic channels with the Thoraxians. Perhaps a mutually beneficial arrangement can be reached. In the meantime, we can offer humanitarian aid." Keep it, Elena spat. She turned on her heel, striding toward the exit. We'll handle this ourselves. As the doors slid shut behind her, Elena tapped her communicator. Get me the Prime Minister. It's time for Project Prometheus. Back on Earth, Prime Minister Yuki Tanaka received Elena's message with a heavy heart. She had hoped it wouldn't come to this, that the Galactic Council would see reason. But deep down, she had known better. Humanity had always stood alone. Yuki gazed out the window of her Tokyo office, watching the bustling megacity below. They had worked so hard for peace, had thought the petty squabbles of their past were behind them. Now they faced a threat beyond anything in human history. Her finger hovered over the secure comm link. With one press, she would irrevocably change the course of human history. There would be no going back. Yuki closed her eyes, said a silent prayer, and pressed the button. Thousands of kilometers beneath the Pacific Ocean, in a secret facility known only to a handful of individuals, alarms blared. Engineers and scientists scrambled to their stations as blast doors unsealed for the first time in decades. In a cavernous hangar, row upon row of sleek warships stirred to life. Their hulls gleamed with technology beyond anything humanity had publicly revealed. Weapons of terrifying power hummed as targeting systems came online. Humanity had hoped for peace among the stars. They had extended open hands, eager to join a galactic community. But that dream had died in fire over Proxima Centauri. Now, the sleeping giant awakened, and the galaxy would soon learn why. Even before reaching the stars, humanity had been both renowned and feared for its capacity for warfare. The Thraxians, the Galactic Council, and any who stood in their way would face the full fury of a species with nothing left to lose. Humanity was done playing by the rules of a game rigged against them. As the first ships of the Prometheus fleet rose from the ocean depths, a new chapter in galactic history began. The era of human subjugation was over. The age of retribution had dawned. The decision. Prime Minister Yuki Tanaka stood before the United Earth Council, her face grim as she addressed the assembled leaders from around the globe. The chamber, usually filled with the low murmur of discussion, was deathly silent. Distinguished colleagues, Yuki began, her voice steady despite the weight of the moment. The attack on Proxima Centauri and the Galactic Council's subsequent refusal to intervene have left us with no choice. It is time to unveil Project Prometheus. A ripple of whispers swept through the room. Project Prometheus was a name spoken only in the most secure chambers, a contingency plan developed in secret over decades. Admiral Chen Wei, head of Earth's Defense Forces, stepped forward. For years, we've presented a facade of limited technological advancement to the galactic community. But in truth, we've been preparing for this day. Holographic displays flickered to life, showing schematics of sleek warships unlike anything humanity had publicly revealed. The Prometheus fleet, Chen continued, represents the pinnacle of human military technology. Quantum-entangled communication arrays, dark matter reactors, gravity manipulation weapons. We've made leaps that would astound even the most advanced races in the Galactic Council. President Maria Alvarez of the South American Union leaned forward, her brow furrowed. And you're certain these ships can stand against alien technology? Chen nodded grimly. More than stand against it, Madam President. Our simulations suggest we could hold our own against the combined fleets of the top 3 galactic powers. A murmur of shock rippled through the chamber. Chancellor Abdul Rahman of the African Confederation spoke next, his voice heavy with concern. The implications of this are staggering. If we unleash this fleet, we'll be declaring war not just on the Thraxians, but potentially on the entire galactic community. Yuki stepped forward again. We understand the risks, Chancellor. But what choice do we have? Our people are dying. Our colonies burn. And the so-called peacekeepers of the galaxy have turned their backs on us. She swept her gaze across the assembled leaders. We've tried diplomacy. We've tried to play by their rules. And where has it gotten us? It's time we remind the galaxy that humanity is not to be trifled with. Dr. Sophia Nikolaidis, the renowned xenobiologist, raised her hand. Prime Minister, as a scientist, I must urge caution. There's still so much we don't understand about galactic politics. This could have unforeseen consequences. With all due respect, Doctor, interrupted General Javier Ortiz of the North American Alliance, the consequences of inaction are all too clear. Every moment we delay, more of our people die. The debate raged for hours. Leaders argued passionately for restraint, for diplomacy, for measured response. But as reports continued to stream in from Proxima Centauri, of cities reduced to ash, of civilians huddled in underground bunkers, of Thraxian ships methodically destroying human settlements, the mood in the chamber shifted. Finally, President Alvarez stood. The room fell silent. We've always prided ourselves on being a peaceful species, she began, her voice soft but firm. We reached for the stars not with clenched fists, but with open hands. And how have we been repaid? With violence, with disdain, with a callous disregard for human life. Her voice rose, filled with passion and fury. I say no more. If the galaxy wants to see humanity's strength, then by God, we'll show them. A roar of approval swept through the chamber. Leader after leader stood, voicing their support for immediate action. Yuki watched, a mix of pride and sorrow in her heart. This was a moment that would define human history for generations to come. There would be no turning back. As the votes were tallied and the decision made official, Yuki opened a secure channel to the Prometheus base. Admiral Chen, you have authorization. Deploy the fleet. Thousands of kilometers beneath the Pacific, in the cavernous hangars of Prometheus base, klaxons blared. Crews scrambled to their ships, a mix of excitement and trepidation on their faces. Many had trained their entire lives for this moment, never truly believing it would come. Captain Zara Hendricks stood on the bridge of the EFS Nemesis, the flagship of the Prometheus fleet. As the massive hangar doors began to open, she addressed her crew. Men and women of the Nemesis, today we carry the hopes and fears of all humanity with us. We go to war not just for vengeance, but for the very survival of our species. The road ahead will be hard, but remember, we are the best humanity has to offer, and we will not fail. A cheer went up from the crew as the Nemesis's engines roared to life. One by one, the ships of the Prometheus fleet rose from their underground berths, breaking the surface of the Pacific in a display that would have struck awe into the heart of any observer. But there were no observers. No satellites tracked their ascent. No alien monitoring stations detected their launch. The Prometheus fleet slipped away from Earth, cloaked in technologies that defied the understanding of most galactic races. As the fleet accelerated towards the edge of the solar system, Captain Hendricks received a final transmission from Earth. It was Prime Minister Tanaka herself. Captain, the hopes of humanity go with you. Remember our cause is just, but do not let vengeance blind you to opportunities for peace. If there is a chance to end this without further bloodshed, take it. But if not, she paused, her voice hardening. If not, then show them the full might of humanity unleashed. Zara acknowledged the message, feeling the weight of responsibility settle on her shoulders. As the fleet prepared to make the jump to faster-than-light travel, she gazed at the viewscreen showing the rapidly shrinking Earth. For millennia, humanity had looked to the stars with wonder and hope. Now, they'd ventured forth not in peace, but in war. The galaxy had awakened a sleeping giant, and Zara swore they would soon regret it. With a flash of light that defied the laws of physics as understood by most races, the Prometheus fleet vanished from the solar system. Their destination, Proxima Centauri. Their mission, Retribution. As news of the fleet's departure spread across Earth, a mix of emotions swept through the population. Fear, anger, hope, and determination blended together. Humanity stood united as never before, ready to face whatever the galaxy might throw at them. In the depths of space, unnoticed by the Thraxians or the Galactic Council, The most advanced warfleet in human history hurtled towards its first battle. The age of human innocence in the galactic theater was over. The Prometheus fleet was coming, and the galaxy would never be the same. The counterattack. The Thoraxian fleet hung in orbit around Proxima Centauri, their crystalline ships glittering in the red dwarf's light. They had grown complacent in the weeks since their initial assault, certain that the primitive humans posed no further threat. They couldn't have been more wrong. Without warning, space itself seemed to tear open. The Prometheus fleet erupted into real space, their sleek hulls gleaming with technology far beyond anything the Thoraxians had ever encountered. Captain Zara Hendrix's voice rang out across the fleet's quantum-entangled communications network. All ships engage at will. Priority targets are their command vessels. Show them no mercy, but remember, we are not them. Spare civilians where possible. The battle that followed would be remembered for centuries as one of the most lopsided engagements in galactic history. Human gravity weapons warped space-time itself, crushing Thoraxian ships like tin cans. Dark matter torpedoes phased through enemy shields as if they didn't exist, detonating with apocalyptic force within the alien vessels. And perhaps most terrifyingly, human eye-driven combat systems predicted and countered every Thoraxian maneuver before they even executed them. Within hours, the once mighty Thoraxian fleet was reduced to scattered debris. The few surviving ships fled in blind panic, jumping to FTL without any apparent destination. As the Nemesis descended into Proxima Centauri's atmosphere, Captain Hendrix watched the colonies below with a mix of sorrow and determination. Entire cities lay in ruins, the result of weeks of Thoraxian bombardment. "Begin landing operations," she ordered. "I want medical teams on the ground 5 minutes ago. And keep scanning for any Thoraxian ground forces." The aftermath of the battle was chaotic. Human colonists emerged from shelters, alternating between cheers for their saviors and cries of anguish for all they had lost. Thoraxian ground troops, cut off from their fleet, either surrendered or fought to the bitter end. As Captain Hendrix walked through the rubble-strewn streets of New Houston, the largest city on Proxima Centauri, she was approached by a haggard-looking woman cradling a child. "You came," the woman said, tears streaming down her face. We thought Earth had abandoned us." Zara knelt down, placing a hand on the woman's shoulder. "We would never abandon our own. I'm sorry it took us so long, but we're here now. And I promise you, nothing like this will ever happen again." As human ships began the work of rebuilding and fortifying Proxima Centauri, word of the battle spread across the galaxy at FTL speeds. The Galactic Council convened an emergency session, stunned by reports of humanity's previously hidden military might. Part 4. The Escalation. The news of humanity's overwhelming victory at Proxima Centauri sent shockwaves through the galactic community. Races that had previously dismissed humans as primitive upstarts now regarded them with a mixture of fear and awe. The Galactic Council chambers were in uproar. The Thoraxian representative, his crystalline form clouded with shame and rage, demanded immediate action against the humans. "They have revealed themselves as a threat to galactic peace," he shrieked. "We must crush them before they grow even stronger." Other races were more cautious. The Volrani, a race of gaseous beings known for their diplomatic skills, urged restraint. "We must seek to understand the humans' motivations," their representative argued. "Perhaps there is still room for peaceful resolution." But as reports continued to stream in, of human fleets appearing out of nowhere to liberate colonies on the galactic fringe, of Thoraxian outposts falling silent, it became clear that the conflict was spiraling beyond the Council's control. Several races, seeing an opportunity in the chaos, began to make their own moves. The cybernetic Zix launched surprise attacks on their longtime rivals, the organic Florians, claiming they were preemptively defending against potential human aggression. The nomadic drift clans, sensing weakness in the old order, increased their raiding activities tenfold. Back on Earth, the United Earth Council grappled with the consequences of their actions. They had achieved their immediate goal. The Thraxians were in full retreat, and humanity's colonies were safer than ever. But they had also fundamentally altered the galactic balance of power. Prime Minister Yuki Tanaka addressed the council, her face grave. "We have shown the galaxy that humanity is not to be trifled with. But in doing so, we may have started a war that could engulf the entire Milky Way." Admiral Chenwei, his hologram flickering with barely contained energy, disagreed. "With respect, Prime Minister, we didn't start this war, but we damn well intend to finish it. The Prometheus fleet has given us the ability to project power across the galaxy. We should use it to reshape the cosmic order in humanity's favor." The debate raged for days. Some argued for immediately scaling back operations, seeking diplomatic solutions with the Galactic Council. Others pushed for even more aggressive expansion, believing that humanity's window of technological superiority might be limited. In the end, a middle path was chosen. Humanity would continue to defend its interests vigorously, but would also extend olive branches where possible. They would not seek to conquer, but neither would they allow themselves to be subjugated. As the conflict expanded, unlikely alliances began to form. Several younger races, impressed by humanity's stand against the old order, reached out to form coalitions. The Arxur, a reptilian species known for their martial prowess, offered military cooperation. The Quillex, masters of bioengineering, proposed technological exchanges. For the first time in galactic history, humanity found itself at the center of a rapidly shifting cosmic chessboard. The choices they made now would determine not just their own fate, but that of countless other species. Part 5. The Reckoning. One standard galactic year after the Battle of Proxima Centauri, humanity stood before the Galactic Council once more. But this time, they came not as supplicants, but as equals, or perhaps even superiors. The council chambers had been moved to neutral space, a concession to human security concerns. Representatives from over 1,000 races filled the vast amphitheater, an unprecedented gathering. Prime Minister Yuki Tanaka took the central podium, flanked by holograms of the Prometheus fleet in battle formation. The message was clear. Humanity came in peace, but was prepared for war. "Esteemed members of the galactic community," Yuki began, her voice calm but filled with unmistakable authority. "We stand before you today not to apologize, but to chart a new course for our shared future." She gestured to the holograms around her. "You have seen the power we wield. Many of you fear it. Some of you covet it. But understand this, we did not develop these technologies out of a desire for conquest. We created them because we saw a galaxy fraught with peril, where the strong preyed upon the weak, and even the mightiest races turned a blind eye to suffering." The chamber was silent, every being present hanging on her words. Humanity extends an open hand to all who seek genuine peace and cooperation. But to those who would threaten us, or any innocent race, know that our fist is equally ready. The Thraxian representative, much diminished from his previous bluster, rose to speak. "You talk of peace, human, yet your actions have brought chaos to the galaxy. Countless worlds burned because of the war you started." Yuki's eyes flashed. "The war you started, you mean? When you attacked our colonies without provocation? When you slaughtered civilians? When this august body," she swept her arm to indicate the council, "chose to look the other way?" She turned, addressing the entire chamber now. "We are not blameless. In our fury, perhaps we struck harder than was necessary. But we will not apologize for defending our people, nor for breaking a system that was fundamentally unjust." "So what do you propose?" The Volrani representative's gaseous form swirled with curiosity. "A new galactic order," Yuki replied. "One where the strong do not simply dictate to the weak. Where technological advancement is encouraged, not feared. Where conflicts are resolved through diplomacy first, and where those who resort to unprovoked violence face united consequences." She paused, letting her words sink in. "Humanity does not seek to rule the galaxy, but neither will we stand idly by as others do so unjustly. We propose a new council, one where every race has a voice, and where power comes with responsibility. The chamber erupted in a cacophony of voices, shouts of approval, cries of outrage, and everything in between. It took hours for order to be restored, as race after race voiced their opinions on humanity's proposal. In the end, no firm resolution was reached, but it was clear to all present that the galaxy had entered a new age. The human upstarts, once dismissed as primitives, had in one fell swoop reshaped the cosmic playing field. As Yuki prepared to depart the council chambers, she was approached by the Arxer ambassador, his scaled form towering over her. "An impressive performance, Prime Minister," he rumbled. "But do you truly believe you can change the nature of galactic politics so easily?" Yuki smiled, a mix of determination and weariness in her eyes. "Easily? No, but we humans have a saying. The arc of the moral universe is long, but it bends toward justice. It won't happen overnight, but we'll get there. We have to." As the human delegation departed, the remaining council members looked at each other in a mix of fear, respect, and speculation. The age of human isolation was over. Whether that would lead to a golden age of peace and cooperation, or plunge the galaxy into an era of unprecedented war, remained to be seen. But one thing was certain: the Galactic Council had indeed crossed a line, and in the fire of Retribution, a new cosmic order had been born.